Zoroark being at 178 pounds, only 5 feet tall.
Wow, it's like my brother.
Oh my gosh, so let's take a look at the prize cards here. Oh no, I'm seeing a lot of Pokemon in the prizes, but I know these Zoroark decks play a heavy lines of their ends Pokemon.
Yeah, you will see the full count, the 4-4 line here. So prizing a 1-1 is not the worst. There is the extra inclusion of the Darmaka just to clean up the line. So the 3-2 is now down to a 2-2 in this instance.
Right.
Not too bad. See the luminous energy on John's side. It's been a really fun inclusion to work in copies of cards like the Monkey Dory occasionally, but we don't see that this time around.
Not this time, not in this deck, but Luminous Energy still joining us. We have the fist bump. We're kicking off our Swiss round 6 here in Milwaukee between these two incredible players. Of course, John has been playing the Pokemon TCG for over 15 years, Kyle. Daniel, on the other side, this is his very first season.
Wow, yeah, and you know what? That's just, it goes to show you that anyone can pick up the game and start to find success. He's clearly a talented player to already be at, what, a 5-0 position, well, 4-0-1 in this spot, so really great start.
Woo!
Now here's the test. Can you take down a player of John's caliber?
Yeah, both these players sitting at 401 records here, so sort of undefeated, has a tie under both of their belts, but I mean, that's got to be some pressure here. Daniel facing off against John, a very well-known player here in the Pokemon TCG, but bringing the spice here with these ends Pokemon. We already see 2 Zorua here on the bench, ends Zorua, as well as a Monkey Dory in the start here. Let's talk about this matchup on paper. Kyle, what are we going to kind of see as far as Daniel setting up here? Of course, we see all these ends Pokemon coming out. This deck is so cool. You get to trade into a bunch of cards down the line. It's kind of going to be similar to what we saw from the Golden Go matchup, just drawing into some sweet cards. But that Night Joker is the key here. It's copying moves of ends Pokemon that Daniel also plays. We see the Darumaka on the bench. That's going to turn later into a Darmanitan. And what's cool about that, Kyle, because it looks sick.
A couple of things. Some matchups you are able to use the backdraft and find some sneaky knockouts. This isn't exactly the type of matchup that the Flame Body Cannon is a very great attack. We've seen players copying that with the end Zoroark, or even including the reversal energies to attack with the end Darmanitan. Once you're down in prize cards, 90 damage lines up very well into a lot of Pokemon on John's side. If you can start to target down some Dracloaks, or maybe even Dusclopses, Duskulls that hang out, you can really manipulate the prize exchange and put John on the back foot to where he can't take the big knockout at the right time.
Yeah, do you think that's one of the reasons so many players are opting to bring this ends toolbox into this event?
Certainly, yeah. It's a spot where you get to include a single prize Pokemon that has a lot of value. And you have other attacks that you can copy as well. You've got the Ends Reshiram that deals 170 damage, but you also have that powerful Rage if a Pokemon's not able to clean you up with the 280 hit points that you have on your End Zoroark. So a lot of resources, and of course you can always just fall back on tried and true Blood Moon or Saluna if things aren't working out.
Yeah, we got options here. I love that move that you attack for the 170, but then it's almost scary because if you attack into that Zoroark, it can just come back swinging if you don't knock it out, you know, and it's can get sticky there. Daniel definitely has some options after we saw the setup for the turn 1. John Ing now on this turn 1 setup on his side, starting off with the Buddy Poffin. The Budew is going to come down onto the bench here as well as a Dreepy. This has been a love-hate relationship with this Budew for our TCG players. One of arguably the most powerful cards simply because it's locking down your opponent. It doesn't take any energy, as you can see from the empty Itchy Pollen move. It does 10 damage and it allows your opponent to not play their item cards as well. It is a factor of these Dragapult decks. They put it into play and it buys them some time to set up their own board. As we see now, the rescue board hopping that Pheasantipity out of the active. We're seeing the Itchy Pollen. Now Daniel's not going to have access to any item cards. You think that's going to hurt his strategy here?
I mean, this was phenomenal from John. You see what he was able to do off of just 6 cards from Iono. He found not only the energy that could help him here, but also has the rescue board, is able to attach to the Dreepy, use the Budew, and now has this opportunity to slow down on items. But no!
Look at that! Serrano!
Because Serrano just finding all of the resources here. It works out so well in this instance. We saw
Love
this,
it.
just a few months ago with Lance being able to find all these evolution Pokemon. This is the same situation. All of the evolutions come down, and we're going to see a lot of trading.
The power of the Fedora. It has been enacted here, Kyle. 3 Pokemon EX. This is what our players are having to do. They're having to adapt around this Badoo strategy. It's locking your item cards, so you need to find key supporters here to help you still set up and work around not being able to play those item cards. And look at this. It's just Zoroark, Zoroark, Zoroark.
I've seen this movie before. It usually goes really well for Zoroark.
Right, it does, because now we're trading here. Discard 1, draw 2 here from the end Zoroark, and that's how we get to start stacking up some nice hands here for Daniel.
You know what feels even better? Throwing away every item that you see.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Oh, hey, Badoo. Yeah, I don't care. So I'm just going to make every one of these useless items into 2 additional cards.
Yeah, of course, that Dark Energy is on the Monkey Dory, unlocking that Adrenabrain ability. We're seeing those damage counters being shifted onto the other side of the field, onto that Badoo. So it's taking a little damage there.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. You got to get the luck, but it does do 10 damage that Daniel can just throw right back at you with the monkey, flinging it around. Okay, we see John now evolving into this Dracloak. We're going to see some recon directive action here. So drawing into some of our own cards. Of course, this time around, no discard, but you only get 1 to the hand. The other one goes to the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, some considerations here. Has the Arven already if he wants to find that Buddy Poffin, but actually just drew right into it. Now is going to hold on to the Dracloak for a future turn, and now probably just grab that Buddy Poffin right off the bottom of the deck.
And it's back. A tool card, an item card, the Arven lining up so many decks here for our players. The luxurious cape. That is what
King Badoo.
King Badoo. It has gotten an upgrade here. Tosses on a cape, and it beefs it up quite a bit there. So if you need to buy yourself a couple more turns, what's another 100 HP, you know?
Yeah, we've seen players using the luxurious cape as a way to maybe avoid some of these knockouts on the bench. You can play that onto your Dreepy, have some additional hit points, or you just make the biggest Badoo you've ever seen. you can hang out for a little longer, not worry about the additional damage that the Monkey Dory is doing, and you can wait until your opponent actually finds the basic energies to attack with the end Zoroark and buy yourself a little more time here.
Badoo, 8 inches tall, 2.6 pounds. And a lot of HP.
with a 5-foot cape being draped from its back.
Yeah, that baby is strong. That is for sure when it has that. But this time around, it's just swinging without that cape there. An additional 10 now onto the Monkey Dory here from Daniel's sides. And we're going to see that 3rd Zoroark EX be evolved into.
Yeah, plenty of ways to continue the draw here, throwing away item cards, just making the most out of this situation where you are slowed down by the Badoo. You can move that additional 10 damage from the Monkey Dory once more, put the pressure on John to make a move next turn, and you have to feel fairly comfortable in this spot. Your opponent hasn't set up too much. They missed energy last turn. Arven wasn't able to help out there either, so you've got a few more turns to get all the pieces together. Yeah,
we're just seeing cards discarded here. All of those items hitting the discard pile, drawing into 2 cards each off of each of those end Zoroark EX. We don't see a Darmanitan, though, yet for Daniel. We do see that End's Castle, fantastic card that works perfectly into this deck as well. It allows your End's Pokemon to have no retreat cost, which is pretty cool. For the Stadium pick from Daniel. There's a huge hand that we've been building up from these trades. Looks like it's going to be a boss's orders type turn here for Daniel now, just putting that Dreepy into the active position here now before we're going to see this Monkey Dory activate its Adrenabrain, moving these damage counters off.
Yeah, this is a nice turn where you understand that you just want to use some items to potentially find some additional energies to build up, attack with your Zoroark on the following turn. Your opponent's already used the rescue board, missed an energy last turn. They're desperate for resources. We know there's another Dracloak here, but if you don't find the energy to move around, this would be a pass of the turn.
Dracloaks for days. We're seeing cards hit the hand here now for John.
Season Night Stretcher, but does not have any energies in the discard piles. Oh, come on. I don't have anything.
No. Such a big hand.
I've been playing this game for how long?
Yeah,
And
right.
we've only seen this one.
I'm not even getting but dude. I got nothing. We're going to see the luxurious cape here now go down onto the Dragapult on the bench. And that's it. The Dreepy is inactive. That means the Itchy Pollen is not an option here from John, which means Daniel's able to play some item cards here going into this next turn. We're starting off with that Cyrano being discarded here for trade. We're going to get a huge hand here, but now we can actually play some items.
Yep, and we see the frustration once more of just not finding the energies needed to get some relevant attacks off. The reversal energy when your opponent will never take the first prize card on you. John is very content passing along and waiting until Badoo is knocked out in a stage like this. He's setting up a pretty hefty board and just waiting for his own energies. Meanwhile, Daniel has 6 copies of Darkness Energies, only seen the 1 so far.
Oh my gosh. Only 1. Well, look at that though. The reversal energy, there's a 2 copy. One's going to join the board here from that, or onto that Darumaka. Can come into play from the Darmanitan later on, but for right now, it's just the attach for turn. Of course, we like to accelerate energy from other cards from Daniel as well. We also see that Defiance Band go down onto that Zoroark. There are actually a lot of cards in this deck that kind of become available if you're behind in prize cards. So that's something you definitely want to enact if you can here. We just see that Ends Castle come into play here as the stadium, and we're back over to John's side as both of these players are just waiting for the right moment. And what's that going to be for John, do you think, Kyle?
It comes down to a turn where you can place a ton of damage onto a Zoroark most likely, but you have to be careful into playing into a Reshiram. You can't have that bench space open to attack in, so you have to place all the damage without taking a knockout.
Yes, it's so
If you can
sticky.
do that, then you feel very comfortable. You can attack into 2 Zoroarks and maybe try to set up the damage with a double knockout with the Dusclops, remove both Pokemon from play, and maybe combine that with the right supporter, the Iono, but you have all the time in the world right now. Your opponent has no pressure on you, has missed all the energies, and you've got the Jock here to see your 3rd Recon Directive every turn.
Yeah, I mean, that's just beautiful here. The evolution Pokemon coming out from that Jacques. And it's just one way. I mean, when you're working with these ghost builds with the Dusclops, the Dusknoir that John has, you can kind of just take whatever prize cards you want on whatever turns you want. And you can really shut down your opponent. Think about it. If Daniel's not able to use the Night Joker to copy any moves, that's kind of awkward there for Daniel. So if John's really able to take advantage of taking out those pivotal Pokemon when he can, that's going to be huge. 3rd Recon Directive here from John. Has the choice between an Arven and a Hawlucha.
Yeah, at this point, you want to just continue to probably see a few more cards. You could include Hawlucha in the math if you remove the Dusclops, or you use the Dusclops ability at the right turn, but
blow up.
It's yes, but it's tricky to find the right spot for it. So I'd understand either choice there.
Well, we're seeing that Dusclops come into play here now. Badoo in the active position here for John. Back in the active, ready to Itchy Pollen it up. That's what we're gonna see. 10 damage. Yeah, that's all you need. Monkey Dory taking a little bit of damage there, and no more item cards for Daniel. Let's see if we can actually, get some other cards, like you said, Kyle. Some energy, some evolutions.
It's so difficult for Daniel to be aggressive in this. He always wants to lose that opening prize, and this is what you're left doing. Iono to start your turn, slowing the game down even further at this point. I don't even think you can take the knockout with the Monkey Dory to remove the Badoo at this point, because you will never see that reversal energy. It's so much more difficult to use any of these big attacks. Yeah.
You want, like we were saying, you want to unlock those abilities of those cards that are pretty key here. Adding extra damage, just enabling the attacks on its own. So we're going to see some trades happen from these Zoroarks here for Daniel.
Wow. All right, the hand is starting to come together at this point. It's
stacked.
Funny that you only need to just see some dark energies to get a little bit of optimism, but it's here now. There's a dark energy. There's also a second dark along with the boss's orders. So future turns, we could see this Zoroark attacking as early as next turn, copying a great attack like on that Darmanitan. You could remove some of these Dracloaks from play.
Flame Body Cannon, Backdraft. I mean, those moves are wild. I mean, his body is flaming, I must say.
Yeah, and, it's very scary for Dracloak. It's math no good.
Well, we are seeing the damage counter being removed here from Daniel. Where he chooses to put it, though, it's not going to be going on to that Badoo. As we said, kind of want to keep that baby in play there. It's going to be going onto the Pheasantipity on the bench there, putting a singular damage. That means it's going to take it down to 200 left from John's field on that Fez. That's going to be it's going to be it here.
Yep, there's an opportunity here for John. He does have access to the Dragapult, fire energy along with it, so maybe if he's able to find a boss's orders, he'll feel pretty good about pulling the trigger, finding a big attack on a Zoroark. He can put the pressure on this Pokemon first, but then there's a question of, do you have the placements correct in this spot? The Luxurious Cape on the Dracloak with the energy seemed correct at the time, but that's likely the Pokemon that you want to evolve at this stage.
Yeah, that's true. That's the one. It's got all the goods here. It's got that psychic energy on it. We see, of course, John going into the deck for these evolution Pokemon. That Dusknoir, another Dracloak coming out of the deck, thinning it out and giving that option there of the Dusknoir here from John.
Always so many considerations when you're playing a deck like this. You could pop the Dusknoir at any point, get the ball rolling. You could remove the Monkey Dory from play and have your opponent bring up a new active. You get a clean attack into there.
Ooh.
You can slow down. You can place a ton of damage counters and then set up these big swing turns with the Iono. So like we tend to see all the Dragapult players do.
Right.
Doesn't seem like a great turn to walk into a reversal energy. So I'm curious to see how John maneuvers here.
Right, we're going to see the Dusknoir come out, but it's still just chilling on the bench as we hop into these recon directives here now from John. Professor's Research going into the hands here from the first. Next one's between the Ace-Spec, which is swiftly going to be taken into the hand, and that Unfair Stamp is the Ace-Spec here for John.
I thought you said Funfair.
It's not very fun for the opposing player.
No, it's a fantastic resource that we see from these players, and this is a turn for John. He's going to open up the bench face, start getting the ball rolling.
The Ghosties coming out. We see the Cursed Blast here. It wasn't the Dusclops, it's the Dusknoir. Yep. That means 13 damage counters going down onto that Zoroark on the bench. Of course, it is out of play. Daniel does get to take a prize card as well, so it's not helping in the prize race for Daniel either.
If you don't have the boss's orders this turn and you want to take the knockout on the Monkey Dory, it makes sense to give your opponent a prize card at this point. Put yourself on even footing, and maybe you can set up a good spot. But he does have access to the counter catcher, removing this dark energy from play, which we've seen has been pretty difficult for Daniel to set up. It might be a great turn to take the lead.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Those 2 energy required there for that Dragapult EX. Of course, has a ton of HP there as well. Daniel's going to have another end Zoroark here going down. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, the spacing of the damage here can be tricky. You don't want to just leave 30 damage easily for the Monkey Dory to push, so sometimes we see players go 2-2-2, but in this case, if your prize map is going to be Zoroark and Zoroark, you might as well just spread it between those because one of them is going to get 2 dark energies this turn.
One of them, yeah, that's true. Well, Dragapult doing its thing here. Phantom Dive taking out that Zoroark, discarding it there, 2 prize cards. And Daniel is now promoting this Darmanitan into the active. Of course, we have 2 there. One on the bench, now 1 in the active for Daniel. Where do you think we're going from here, Kyle?
Well, funny you'd say. It's when you have access to a great attack in that Flame Body Cannon, along with reversal energy already attached, seems pretty likely that a targeting Dracloak would be a reasonable play.
Right.
The only problem you run into now is you want that boss's orders as well, so you can take out both Dracloaks this turn. And I don't know if we've seen it just yet. Of course, access to multiple trades could get there.
Yeah, I mean, when you're trading, you're winning here. That is for sure. Just discarding cards into additional draws here from Daniel. Oh, that Power Glass is super cool too. You know what that one does, Kyle?
We've talked about it. We've seen Badoo so often just shutting everything down, but yeah, the tools are
yeah,
a great resource to sneak in.
Those are nice for when you're trying to pick up those energies. So when you have to discard the energy, you pick them back up with the Power Glass if the tool is attached and the Pokemon's in the active. You put a basic energy from your discard pile to that Pokemon. It's pretty cool when you're doing the attacks from the Darmanitan, which requires you to discard the energy from it.
Yeah, we've seen so often this is a format where you might actually stick around for an additional turn.
Right.
So if you play into an ability that has you sticking around, then you've got a chance
You're
to
chilling.
take some free energies.
Yeah, and that's perfect in this deck, that is for sure. But we'll have to see how the rest of this game irons out here for Daniel as we go into a pal pad. Get some of these supporters out of the discard pile, back into the deck, eyeing up those boss's orders as the picks here from the discard. Of course, taking a quick look at everything else in there too. But that means there's a lot of gust going back into the deck here from Daniel.
Yeah, really great play from Daniel. We've seen moving the damage counters around, being very specific with where the damage lies. You start to think about the math and how this could work out. Monkey Dory, 30 damage. If you can move that over to a Pokemon here like the Pheasantipity, lines up very clean with a Reshiram to take a knockout later in the game. You're already going to be down to 3 prize cards remaining once you remove Vistra Cloak and Vistra Cloak here from play. You have the Badoo with just 10 hit points remaining. The prize map is definitely online, and you wouldn't have to go anywhere near this Dragapult to get the job done.
Avoid the Dragapult EX. That is so beefy as much as possible there. It's got a lot of HP, and it can be hard to deal with, so you just deal around it for Daniel. So that's pretty key here. We're going to have to see he's able to do that. Like you said, Kyle, he's giving himself the best chance, shuffling all of those cards needed from the discard pile with the Super Rod as well as the Pal Pad into the deck here from Daniel. And you got to think, too, he's probably played this matchup quite a bit. I mean, Dragapult is one of the top meta decks, so you have to know exactly what your outs are, what your lines are, and how to beat it. And so far, so good here from Daniel. And this is only his first season. He's coming out strong here. We're going to see that Darmanitan attack here with its Flame Body Cannon. 90 base damage to the active, but it also does 90 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and you discard all of the energy attached to it. So it's only a single discard, because that's what we saw in the reversal energy. Taking off the Darmanitan, took 2 of those prize cards, bringing us down to 3, as you said, Kyle. Now it's back over to John to respond to that.
Yeah, and we saw the damage placed on the Dust Skull this time around. It leads to a little bit of trickiness here. If there isn't damage placed on the board, if there's a way to clean up the board completely, then there won't be any damage for the Monkey Dory to move, take a knockout on Pokemon like this Badoo. It is really tough to set up at this point, though. Can you take the 2 knockouts here? You could potentially move some damage over to the Monkey Dory and combine that with a knockout on the Darmanitan. Go down to 2 prize cards remaining, and then maybe your opponent doesn't find the resources. Pretty possible here with the unfair stamp. That we just don't see the answer from Daniel's side.
Right, exactly. It's very possible there. I mean, we do have some trades that could help out, but that unfair stamp, this is when you want to use it to take the advantage in the later game. If you're John here, a knockout happened, so it enacted that card. We have 5 cards being drawn off the bat from John. Only 2 to Daniel, though, and that could get real sticky real quick. We're to see this hand here from John built.
He's got plenty of resources, but at this point, what do you even want to do? You have everything you need. You have Dragapult. He even has a counter catcher if he doesn't want to target the Darmanitan, but it seems clean to remove these Pokemon. The issue is, how do you close out the game afterwards? And there's just no real answer. There's too many hit points on the Zoroarks to get the job done, so maybe he has to slow down and start to target the EXs once more.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens here. Of course, John had to have known that this deck was kind of on the up and coming. I wonder if he was treating it seriously or not, as now he's facing up against it here in our Swiss round 6. Ultra Ball, discarding a Badoo as well as that Vessel. And back into the deck here.
Yeah, every Pokemon that you potentially add to the board is a way to walk into an issue with a Darmanitan.
Yeah, scary. I know, yeah. I mean, when you have, with this ends deck, the ability to kind of get to the bench like that, it's a total liability there for John. But we're going to see that Dragapult EX thinned out of the deck here from John. He's out, but he ain't gonna be played.
Removing Monkey Dory seems really strong at this point. You have the option to take that off the board, avoid even access to the knockout on the Badoo.
Is that what you want to see here, Kyle?
Unless you use the Darmanitan, which doesn't seem great. It's just about making your opponent have to take the least optimal line next turn.
Work for it. Yeah, it's kind of awkward here. I'm curious to see what John is going to do. Of course, is behind in the prize card, so counter catcher is in play here, but it looks like he's debating it.
Yeah, could you bring up the damaged end Zoroark up to the active spot, damage the Monkey Dory, and then clean up the Monkey Dory, leave a ton of damage on that other Zoroark, and then play for a potential win next turn with Boss's Orders, bringing up Darmanitan, cleaning up that Zoroark, and winning the game? It just have to have the right pieces, and there's no drawing from this point on.
You know, all of that is churning around in John's head right now as he makes these tough decisions here, but that Dusclops is going to be wiped off the field, of course, with its Curse Blast, putting those 5 damage counters out. Daniel taking a prize card from that Dusclops as well, so down to just 2 left. John had to do it to get those damage, to get the damage out onto the monkey.
You start to wonder if he was able to set that turn up before using the unfair stamp. Maybe avoid giving an additional card to your opponent there, as every resource is going to be that much more important when you're trying to close out the game.
I mean, yeah, it all comes down to this in this matchup, this late game. What's going to happen here between these players? Ultra Ball discarding that Dragapult EX that was brought out, as well as the Hawlucha to grab that Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, that late game attacker. John's adding to the hand here now, Kyle. And now to the board with an energy attachment as well.
Oh, he does have the Iono. Has not played the supporter for turn yet. The unfair stamp was just the beginning. Now has access to even more disruption.
Wow.
And, if you liked those cards, Daniel, you got to try again.
Oh, yeah, was strategizing the whole time with whatever he had. Now gets shuffled back once again, Daniel, back into 2 other cards. Right at the end there, of course, Iono representing the prize cards. That means John was able to draw 4 cards into the hand. Several Night Stretchers for John now in the hand. Dragapult EX in the active position. Still very beefy. It has not been attacked once. As we said, Daniel's avoiding Dragapult EX, and this is the result of that. Now Dragapult EX is able to strike, take multiple prize card knockouts here, and Daniel is just left here with 2 Zoroark on the bench, as well as that single ends Darmanitan. And both of our players are tied up 2 prize cards each. It is down to the wire here, Kyle. Daniel still has to choose who to promote into the active position and where he's gonna go from here. Looks like that Darmanitan's jumping up, but players are even in prize cards now.
John is playing for Hawlucha Boss's Orders at this point. Deal the extra damage to the Zoroark and then bring it to the active spot, clean it up with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. It's a pretty difficult thing to get when you have no way to draw additional resources. It looks like a knockout's not likely this turn, so you're not drawing with the Pheasantipity. But Daniel's got a shot here to find some really good resources. He had Secret Box and Energy and Blood Moon, but he didn't have the resources to use Secret Box. He couldn't throw away enough cards.
Wow. Yeah, we just saw the Blood Moon hit that discard pile as a discard to the trade here for the 2 cards. The Secret Box, of course, the ace spec from Daniel.
The one time you want to see all of your bad cards, and he just sees great ones. The energy that he needs, the Blood Moon that could potentially take a big knockout on Pheasantipity, all the right resources. But it's not there yet. Does he have enough resources if he uses the Secret Box at this point?
Right, exactly. I mean, that's like the whole hand, right? Yeah, it is 3 cards.
Then it's just what copies do you have left to get the job done?
Well, now we don't. Now we don't, because we're seeing the energy attachment there on to that end Zoroark. That's the 2nd Dark Energy attached there. 3 cards total in the hand. It's just going to be the Iono here. Daniel's saying, I guess I'll take another 2.
I mean, if John finds Hawlucha Boss, then he's just the best.
Well, the Hawlucha was discarded,
okay, so
but he had the Night Stretchers.
Yeah.
He had 2 in the previous hand, so now he's going down to 2 cards, which is a bit awkward there, but we'll have to see if he's able to make that happen. Daniel Of course, working with his Iono as well. It's a nest ball in the hands. And what is that, research?
I think it was a Turo.
Oh, it's a Turo, yeah. It's the same guy.
He just picks what he wants to be.
Exactly. It looks like debating. We have this trade left here for Daniel. And I guess he's deciding what to do here. He's going to choose to use this nest ball first to get a Pokemon out.
I mean, there's still Pheasantipity if you wanted to
True.
see more cards.
If you need something else,
you want to work for
something?
an attacker, you have the Reshiram. You can set up a 2-hit knockout on the active.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's a beautiful one, too. That Reshiram, we haven't even seen it yet, but now it is joining the fray here from the nest ball, being brought out onto the fields. It has that powerful rage move that we've been talking about. If you have heavy damage counters on you, you strike back. It's 20 damage for each damage counter. That can hit for a lot of damage in these games, in these matchups. Virtuous Flame as well, 170 is an attack you can copy from one of those Zoroark. It's kind of the math we were thinking he was going to line up with that Fez. Of course, it only has the 10 damage still on it, so it's sitting at 200.
Would have been a boss's orders away from winning the game at any point. Instead, the damage was placed on the Duskull that eventually was popped.
Right.
So now both players grasping at straws, trying to find an answer. What's that?
I think it was the monkey. I don't know.
Well, monkey moved the damage over to Duskull.
Right, yeah, he moved it over, to Duskull. And now it's gone. So sad. Well, we're going to see the strike there from the end Zoroark EX, copying that attack. John now with a Dragapult EX being brought down to 150 HP left here. Still 2 prize cards to take for both of our players. Daniel just hitting that damage and just seeing what happens here. Now, if he's able to clean up this game, what is John looking to do here, Kyle? It's what we were saying before. I mean, line it up.
You can't. Yeah, this Dragapult cannot end the turn in the active spot at this point of the game. You will lose. So you have to find a way to move this Pokemon around. You might have to slow down and go to a Pokemon like the Badoo at this point. You have only the 1 retreat cost on the Dragapult, so it's not that taxing, but you just need to buy more turns. Maybe just tell your opponent, hey, take Badoo. Just take this little Pokemon so I can... It's not... I totally won't draw 3 additional resources and win the game with one of my great counter catchers or boss's orders.
The bait has been placed there. The Badoo in the active here. It's hitting 10. It's the itchy pollen here. That means Daniel can't even play the secret box. Actually, he can't play... Any of those cards.
Of the items. He's got
any of those. Well, one's a stadium, but you can't bump it for the same stadium. But yeah, you can't play nothing.
Blank cards in the hand right now.
Oof.
We call that trade fodder.
That's true. That is very true. Trade. Let's see what hits that discard pile. Into an additional 2 cards there. It's just another Iono. I mean, both these players have just been Iono back and forth here. So Rua hitting the discard pile in that second trade. Of course, we're item locked here, so none of those items can be played here from Daniel.
All the resources, getting additional energies, moving Pokemon if you're down in prizes, all these things that just do not work right now in a matchup where you're 2-2 prizes, Badoo in play.
Badoo.
Taking the knockout is awful. You're not going to use that
I was like, no, don't use that. No. That's an item. That would be nice, though. Oh, this is so awkward here. It's just a pass over from Daniel over to John now. Look at the hand here. 2 counter catchers and an Iono from John as well. Both these players have the Iono, and we've just seen it back and forth. It's just the itchy Paul and back to Daniel.
In 24 more turns, you're going to be gone,
stop it.
Wow, boss's orders is found.
Oh, my gosh. That was the top deck?
He's got it, and he's taking the knockout there, copies the Reshiram, gets the job done. John just wants to see how close he was to finding the pieces. It looks like one of the stretchers was prized too, so just a couple of those resources.
Wow.
Tough to close out here.
Yeah, that's tough because, we did see several Night Stretcher in the hand from John, but it was Iono'd away too, so it just slipped out of his hands there. And yeah, that's how it shapes up here. Daniel able to find the boss's orders, get that final knockout. Last 2 prize cards for the W here between these players in this first match. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I mean, wow, what a game of patience between both of these players, sort of waiting for very specific times in these matchups. And that takes some heavy skill, as we see here from John. That first damage counters being placed with the Dusknoir down into these further plays. To take these two, of course, had the counter catcher because that Dusknoir blew up. And that was what allowed John to kind of pick and choose where these knockouts were going.
Yeah, you know what's happening afterwards there. When you go down in prizes, it means that your opponent is ready to work in that reversal energy that's just been waiting for you on the other side. Double Dracloak down, all of the draw power for John gone at this point. He's just trying to find any resources to close this game out. But for Daniel, he had trade, and you can find those resources, finds the boss's orders after digging for a few turns, and is able to get the job done and close out here in game one. Huge win here, 35 minutes in that opening game. It's pretty tough in a matchup where you're waiting around.
When in doubt, draw out. Daniel was able to do it, but we're probably going to see a lot more waiting around going into this game.
How do you? You have 15 minutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. John can't wait around at this point, because if time is called and there's no winner, or John is not the winner, Daniel will be the winner because of taking down that first game. So Daniel's in a pretty good spot here. John kind of shaking his head at what this opening hand looks like, and also the Pheasantipity EX start. I'm so curious as to what that looks like. Daniel starting with a Reshiram in the active position, as well as a Buddy Poffin, kicking things off here, getting some Pokemon out. We did not see any issues from Daniel last game getting these Pokemon out. I mean, we had a full bench pretty early on. Also plays the Clefaiz, well, it's in the prize cards now, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And the 4-4 line, too easy to work around. So not too bad there for Daniel in the prizes.
Yeah, opening turn, Buddy Poffin. You're setting up your Zoruas. This is exactly where you want to be, and you have plenty of time to look through the deck, see what's prized as your opponent stares down a second Pheasantipity start for the match.
Gross.
And you can just feel the energy seething from John. He is not happy with the fact that he has to try to win this game for a tie with 13 minutes plus.
Yeah, the time is not in his favor. The Pheasantipity starts awkward. Anytime you have to sort of like waste an energy to retreat out of the Pheasantipity into something else is just another resource wasted on your side. Especially, you know, Daniel's got a pretty epic setup here. The Poffin, not only that, but the Nest Ball as well. We're going to start getting all these Pokemon out. The Reshiram is already in play here to copy some moves. This time around, we just need Daniel to start finding those energy. You know, we have the energy attachments for turn. We're looking for 2 energy onto that end Zoroark. The ends PP up, Kyle, is usually what helps out with that, getting those energy from the discard pile onto the field as well. But we just didn't see it last time from Daniel because the items were locked.
Yep, item lock continually was in the way there. We see the castle this time around too, and thankfully it helps out a little more because you don't have Monkey Dory as your active Pokemon for the first 5 turns of the game. You can use this, maneuver around. There is a threat of an early attack from Zoroark this time, and that's exactly where you want to be as Daniel.
Yes. All the ends Pokemon are out. They can all free retreat now thanks to that nice little castle. Man, ends got a whole castle, Kyle.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Got to get my bread up.
Let's look at the prize cards here for John. Whoa, a couple evolutions there.
Yeah, a couple pieces.
Oh, and some in the discard pile, too.
See that Jock as well. The Dracloak, the Dusclops, all these great tools, but just needs to have that set up. He's got no energy, no Badoo, no nothing.
Oh, my gosh. You know, not having energy is so bad, actually, because then you're just set back even further at this point. Wow. Jock is the supporter for the turn as well. Getting out evolution Pokemon, as we said, there are actually exactly those 2 in the prize cards that John just got out of the deck, the Dracloak, as well as the Dusclops coming out. We saw a Dusknoir and a Dragapult EX hit the discard pile for an Ultra Ball already in that turn from John, and that's going to be it. That means Daniel has extra play here. There's no pollen out on the field. He is free to play these cards. We see the Ace Spec in the hand from Daniel as well as these evolution Pokemons flying down onto the board. The free retreat already with the Ends Castle. This is just bread and butter here for Daniel.
Yeah, son. Top it all off with a secret box that you can play. Throw down the rest of the hand. Find the resources you need. The only thing that's bailing John out at this point is the Luxurious Cape, or he would have lost both Dreepy potentially on this turn. It is so difficult to have all the resources.
My gosh.
He's got one card in hand, and he's got no way to slow down Daniel.
Yeah, that is so tough. You want to take things nice and slow as a Dragapult player, but when the clock's against you, as well as your board state in general, that is just tough to do as Daniel gets an item card, a tool card, a supporter card, a stadium card. You know, you pick and choose. Everything is in the box, apparently, as we see that secret box. Throw the rest of the hand away as well, so you're thinning even more out of your deck. And that just makes the rest of your draws from these future trades even better here for Daniel. So he's just furthering his board state so much, and you love to see it.
Yeah, we see the Power Glass there,
oh,
too.
Baby.
Draw 7 new cards to go along with it. Just looking for the energy. It's right there on the top. He's got all the tools needed to put a ton of pressure on this opening turn.
I love this.
You've got choices here. You could discard your energies. You could take a knockout on that Dreepy,
and
damage
it just pops
the
back.
They come right back with the Power Glass.
Yeah. One of them comes back, and then you're just set up. As long as you have an additional energy, you are set up to go for the next time around attacking. So if you're not having any pressure being placed, and you know, the end Zoroark, it's pretty beefy. It's 280 HP as well, which is pretty nice. Of course, being one of those evolution Pokemon, it gets a little help there. See that energy? This is the first energy, or sorry, the energy attachment for turn from that first energy. So that makes 2, Kyle. I can do some math here. The Power Glass as well on there. We're going to see the attack here.
Ooh.
So Daniel has the option to choose either the Reshiram or the Darmanitan, and it is going to be that Reshiram.
Yeah, the only thing that this doesn't help against is if your opponent has the second Dreepy to go along with this, or the third Dreepy, I suppose.
Right.
Because then you're missing out on the potential to take a knockout on that Pokemon, but now you get to cash in on a Dracloak knockout, which feels a little cleaner in this spot.
That's very true. Yep, that Virtuous Flame attacking that Pheasantipity, 170 damage there. Now John is able to use these recon directives here, try to save the hand a bit. Of course, Pheasantipity stuck in the active, nothing was knocked, can't flip the script. It's just been a huge liability, unfortunately for John, both these times. At least we have the rescue board now. That's what we had to see in the last turn, or sorry, the last game as well from John. Rescue board going on to the Fez. Buddy Poffin from the item card, pulled off the Arven here to bring out. Finally, we see the little green guy, Badoo, and a Duskull.
He's a little late to the party, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just missed his bus, but he's going to try his best to help out here. Pheasantipity, already so much damage on it. The Badoo is an easy cleanup at some point in the game with a Monkey Dory. You just know that the prize cards will start flying off the table for Daniel at some point.
Yeah, the prize cards are going to be flying. The cards are going to be flying into the hand as well with these trades that he's able to work with. We've already got our evolutions out in the Darmanitan and the Zoroarks. The Reshiram was in play from the beginning. Badoo's just being swept away to the discard pile. Don't even need it. We're going fast here. Is that a Bombardier EX?
It is.
Hitting the discard pile.
And it's gone.
And it's gone. No birds here on this side. Or I don't know. Reshiram's like kind of bird-like. It's got like chicken legs, you know.
Say that to a Reshiram and see what happens to you, pal.
It's only like 9 feet tall. It's probably taller than that, honestly. All right.
It's never leg day for Reshiram.
We're seeing these cards have just been flowing into the discard pile for these trades. Of course, Serrano as well being played to take out the 3 Pokemon EX. I mean, what a crucial card here in this deck. It is so sweet. Now we have the access to another trade. He's just going to throw away a Darumaka. We've already got 2. One's a Darmanitan now on the bench. Daniel is flowing here. We have the attachment for turn onto the Zoroark as well. We're chilling here, Kyle, on Daniel's side.
So clean. There's so many great answers that you have built in here. You're dealing 90-90. You can remove Dracloak if you want. You can go after Pheasantipity because you're taking a knockout also. It just seems so clean to take this Pokemon, go down to 3 prizes. If your opponent ever wants to take a big knockout, probably involves Dusclops at some point or Dusknoir, and then your 2 prizes remaining. It's going to just be so simple.
Daniel has put himself in a position to win, and we are seeing just what happens when you can use your item cards with this deck. You get that initial setup, and then you're just flying. You're drawing cards, you're discarding cards, you're getting those knockouts. We saw the energy bounce back onto the Zoroark as well from Daniel. Now, of course, John's going to fight back here. The unfair stamp. Those Pokemon went down in the last turn, so we're going to try to hinder Daniel as much as possible, but it's difficult when you have those trades just stacked up on the other side of the field.
Yeah, just not enough damage on the board right now to really make something happen. You're always going to run into an issue with this Zoroark, but maybe there's a world where Unfair Stamp can line up with just missing out on some energy cards on Daniel's side. That's what John is really hoping for. Slow down, buy a turn, and attack in, maybe find a 4-prize opportunity down the line.
Well, we'll see if he's able to make it happen here. Night Stretcher getting that Dragapult EX out of the discard pile. Now it's on the field, fully lined up here. Psychic Energy and a Fire Energy.
Yeah, we could see this counter catcher used early on. You could target down the Zoroark with no energies on it and really put your opponent in a spot where they have to find the right resources. Right here, right now, it's still 7 cards you'll see with top deck and 3 trades, but maybe that's enough to slow him down.
John's trying to see his own cards here, pulling that Night Stretcher Pheasantipity back out, drawing an additional 3. That's the counter catcher, bringing up that healthy Zoroark EX, as you said, into the active. Here, Kyle.
Yep, still opportunity to include a supporter for the turn. We've seen the unfair, we've seen the counter catcher, but maybe another resource. But he's actually holding on to the boss's orders for a future turn. Maybe could have seen bosses played and held on to the counter catcher. It's I mean, at this point, you're just trying to play enough cards to stick around in this game. There's only 5 minutes remaining. Yeah,
let's play some cards here. Well, John able to put all that damage down onto the end Zoroark. 200 damage, leaving it with 80 HP left. Of course, 60 going on to the rest of the field. 6 damage counters.
Oh, finds double Dark Energy. That's pretty difficult to see when at least 1's in the discard pile, 2 in play, and 6 total in the deck.
Yeah, there's only 6. I know, it feels like this deck almost plays more than that, but you don't really need more than that because you have ways to get it out of the discard pile.
It's
you know, that Power Glass.
All these dark decks of old have run into is you play patches and max elixirs and all the different ways to bring these energies out, and you actually don't play enough of the energy itself, but he finds 2 of them here now.
Look at that. One's just going to be thrown away into the discard pile, but you feel pretty safe doing that. If you have that ends PP up, Kyle, we're going to see trades. Cyrano going into the discard pile for that second trade. We see a lot of heavy damage on the field, but Daniel's still setting up here. Darmanitan joining us too.
We haven't seen supporter for the turn. I think Turo was found there. That's huge. A complete reset.
It ain't the research.
On this. Yeah, you're not drawing 7, but you're going to win the game.
That's a pretty good trade, I should say, Kyle. Yeah, Turo, I mean, what an incredible card. Able to scoop up your Pokemon, heavily damaged Pokemon, I should say, as well. Professor Turo's scenario. Daniel's going to put that Zoroark right back into the hand here and has that second one already lined up as well for Daniel.
That was filthy.
Yeah, that was
It
nice.
is so mean after all the work
Dragapult,
that John's put in trying to stick around in this game, and he needs that damage to set it up. He's going to set up the 2-hit knockout once more on this Dragapult. He's going to work through the massive hit points, and it seems like a solid play. If your opponent wants to take a big knockout here on the active, it includes popping the Dusknoir, and that just means that you're going to be 1 Reshiram attack away from the win.
Yeah, you're just, that is the unfortunate part about these ghost lines. The Dusclops, the Dusknoir, you can kind of pick and choose where you're taking your prize cards, but you're still giving prize cards to your opponent. And at this point in the game, that is pretty tough to see. Of course, we do see that Blood Moon Ursaluna come out. That is kind of the attacker you want to lean into if your opponent is low on the prize cards, because its beautiful ability allows it to attack late game. We're going to see the Iono for the disruption as well here from John.
Finds the energy for the Blood Moon Ursaluna. That was the one piece missing right here pre-Iono. So can attack in with this Pokemon, take a big knockout here, stick around for a little longer if the resources aren't there for Daniel. He's playing quickly and knows he has to. There's less than 2 minutes remaining here.
Seasoned skill, its ability allowing you to attack with the Blood Moon for 240 damage. and a lot less energy for each of the prize card your opponent has taken here. So just that energy onto the Blood Moon Ursaluna here for John. It's already in the active position now after that hard retreat from the Dragapult EX. Ultra Ball bringing us out another Pokemon as well, debating its being the Dracloak.
There's not enough time. Optimal play has to be thrown away at this point. Although you want to see the resources and you want to build these Pokemon up, you just don't have time for this.
Go, John,
the map's
go!
not on your side here.
Turbo mode, John. Go! We see the Blood Moon striking into this ends Zoroark EX, and that's going to take it out. 2 prize cards here. The very first 2 for John into the Dracloak and a Dusclops. Daniel on the other side sitting with only 2 left to take here. Just under a minute for both of these players in this match.
Yeah, great time to look at the discard pile. See what your
Love
opponent's up to.
What are they doing here? Oh yeah, Darmanitan gonna be the promotion here for Daniel now. We're gonna see that Super Rod. Yeah, play these cards, shuffle them back.
Yep, these effects take time. This is
do.
not playing TCG Live. They're not automatically done for you. You're gonna have to slow down. And this is just a part of the game that we'll see. You've got the shuffle effect here. You've also got the Iono, where some additional shuffling happens.
More
in
shuffles.
the hands.
Yeah.
Turn will be called on Daniel's side, and that is bad news for John. It's very difficult to clean up this board, especially when there's only 1 EX in play.
Yeah, super unfortunate there, but that's how it is turning out here. The time has ticked all the way down in our Swiss round 6. It's about to call. 3 additional turns will be played out between our players. Uh-oh. What do we see there?
Well, he's got the ends PP
Oh,
up. He's
okay.
also got a way to move with the castle. He's got the boss's orders to go along with it.
My
He can just
gosh,
take the
that's
game
it.
right here with the Dragapult knockout. He's got Reshiram to clean things up. That is wild. We're just not even thinking about a way to win the game because he could just
Right.
win off time.